actually remember my first blog post were like 3 or 4 sentences when I decided to start my 365 masks challenge. And it was very inspirational. But at the end of this challenge, I did feel a burnout.
Yeah.
Then no one believed that I could actually, be that dedicated and actually finish it. There's a need in the Hamptons to open a dog boutique and spa, but it's supposed to be my
part-time thing?
Part-time thing.
Project, yeah.
Yes, project. I was thinking I'll start it and I'll have people working for me. But as it turned out, it took all of my free time. Challenges come every single day and from places you would never expect them to come. This fashion week, I decided to go on Fashion Week and make it right. When photographers recognize and acknowledge and photograph your style, all of the beauty editors could actually pick these photos that these street style photographers took. When it comes to PR gifts, gifts from the brands, I'm very picky too. Similarly, how I am picky about sharing stuff that I purchase myself. Put your research towards what do you want to do, but don't let that research stop you of how you can help each other grow. It's not like one single person from your audience will only follow you. Well, people follow many different people for many different reasons, and there is room and space for everyone.
Welcome to the She Did It show, the show that highlights and celebrates achievements of female leaders and creative entrepreneurs. We believe that every woman has a story to tell, and that by sharing those stories, we can inspire others to pursue their dreams and achieve their goals. Through in-depth conversations with successful female leaders from a variety of industries, we explore the challenges and triumphs of their journeys and uncover strategies and techniques using to build thriving businesses and lifestyles that they desired. Whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out or an established professional looking to fresh ideas and inspiration, the She Did It show has something for you. Subscribe to our channel and let's get started. I'm your host, Darya Mudrova, and I'm excited to present to you our today's guest, Katya Bychkova, a beauty style expert and influencer based in New York City. She has worked with Dior, Clarins, Farfetch, Sephora, and other amazing brands. Katya contributes to top lifestyle publications like InStyle and Pursuitist. She has been featured in Wall Street Journal, Refinery 29, The New Beauty magazine, and other media outlets. She is the member of New Beauty Brand Trust, an expert panel created for New Beauty magazine, and also she's the founder and editor of lifestyle blog Style Sprinter, a luxury guide to skincare and makeup. Katya,
Thank you for having me, Dasha.
I'm so excited that we met today with you to talk about your career as influencer, as beauty and lifestyle expert. And you have a very interesting background, how you came up to that. Maybe we'll talk about some tricks and strategies which you use to accelerate your online brand and to strong your voice in the space. I'm so excited to our conversation.
Me too. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Well, my story began years back. I actually, since I was a teenager, I used to work on TV back in my country. I grew up in Belarus. Then I transferred to Moscow State University. I studied journalism there and worked there. But when I came to America, I realized that, there are not that many job opportunities to work in the, American media, because my English was not that good at the moment, and I needed to figure out what to do. One of the ideas I had, maybe I should start a PR agency, maybe I should be a blogger. I didn't know what to do. So I was working a regular corporate job, and I decided to open a blog where you actually, writing down about your outfits. It was very popular at the moment. It was 2014, mid of 2014. And I actually remember my first blog posts were like 3 or 4 sentences where I'll be saying like, oh, I matched these shoes to that bag or that dress to that like coat. And basically my blog helped me to improve my English, and it also symbolized the beginning of my media career in America. So that's how I started.
Wow, that's
way
awesome.
back when.
Yeah, so actually you've been working in office, and a side hustle, you started your blogging career. So you just started to write something about fashion and beauty, yeah?
Yes, in my free time, and sometimes when I was too exhausted at night, I will literally take my lunch break, write a blog post during my lunch break, ask some stranger on the street to take my photos just so I have content to post. And I was obsessed with the beauty and fashion community. I remember this blogger, Katya Bychkova, who is now an actress. She used to post those like crazy outfits, and then she painted her color like gray. I was obsessed with everything, and I was doing it like every spare second I had. I've been working on my brand, working on my, media presence. And then Instagram came along, and
like 2016 was like a boom of Instagram.
Yes. And I feel like 2016 or 17, I started, also posting on Instagram. First, as all of us, I used it as a filter app to like improve the quality of your photos that you post from there on your blog. And and slowly and steady, the brand started reaching out to me, and I got invited to all sorts of events, and the brand started sending me packages with beauty products, with fashion products. So it started sort of, as a side hustle in a way, and also a platform that helped me to learn English. And now it's my full-time career. Thanks to this opportunity to work in social media, I travel all over the world. I, share my knowledge in this industry with other women from across the globe. And honestly, it's my dream come true, because as a journalist, I feel like, our industry changed so much. So it's the way to go. If you want to share, your knowledge, it's social media.
Yeah, it's an amazing platform and opportunity for people to start out something what they really feel passionate about. And I know like about your mask challenge, 365 mask challenge, which came up right after you started your blog.
Yes.
Tell about that.
I think it was in the year of 2018 when I decided to start my 365 masks challenge.
Okay.
It's funny how it started. I really love skincare, and I loved it all my life. I believe I started my skincare routine when I was 12. And I had like problem with acne. I had like all sorts of issues, and I loved solving them and trying to figure out what works for me. And I just had this idea that it would be cool if I try a face mask a day for a year. That's how the 365 masks challenge started. And basically just on January 1st, 2018, I started putting on masks and sharing it on stories. And eventually this, project, no one believed that there are actually 365 masks.
Existing, just generally, like, how do you find that?
Exactly. Then no one believed that I could actually, be that dedicated and actually finish it. Also, I have to tell you that at the moment, not only I was in college full-time at NYU, but also, blogging took a lot of my time, studying took a lot of my time. So I don't feel like even my followers believed that I could actually finish it. But people actually like following because they wanted to see if like, what's the next mask? What's happening? What are the new masks? Which masks I like, which ones I don't. And actually I was able to build a very strong community of skincare loving people. And at some point, probably in the middle of that year, people from across the world started joining my challenge.
And you shared it on Instagram, right?
Only on Instagram
on
stories.
Instagram stories. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess if I shared it now on TikTok, it would, become viral in no time.
Like huge, yeah.
Yes. But at the time, it was only stories. So girls and boys from all over the world were like trying on their masks, whichever masks they had at their own home, and I'll be like resharing the entries for this challenge. And in a way, it was a very empowering project, because it helped people to, especially, like new moms or people who are struggling with some personal losses or some tragedies in their life, to actually find that 5, 10, 15 minutes a day to try on your face mask and actually do something, this self-care ritual for yourself.
Yes, it's amazing. Actually, how did you handle that, like every day? Did you feel like any burnout out of that? Did you feel like any challenges doing this like every day, to dedicate your time to do something like and post it? Because I know lots of influencers and people who do blogging, they can be exhausted doing like posts every day. How did you feel about that?
Well, at first I was very excited, and I don't feel like I ever feel burnout from actually like creating content. And it was very inspirational. But at the end of this challenge, I did feel a burnout, because physically, I was studying and I was going to all of the events that all skincare brands started inviting me to, and, posting every day. For the 365 mask challenge, it was actually fine, because it sort of forces you to stay at home, to put on a face mask and relax.
So that was the pleasant part.
It was a very pleasant part, and it was easy to create that content. And I feel like if you have an idea and you know that there is one thing you need to do each and single day, every day, then it's easier to do. So you don't need to come out with the new creative ideas. In a way, you can just post these masks. But from a physical standpoint, after 2018, I did have a burnout, because I was in college full time, and I was invited to so many events that it was physically impossible to survive. My schedule will be like sometimes 10 events, and those are all like a great luxury, prestigious brands that you really want to build your relationships with, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. At the same time, I was like, physically, I was so exhausted.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So
wow, but you actually overcame that somehow.
Yeah.
How did you manage that?
basically, I decided to prioritize what's important to me and prioritize my my health in a way. If I feel like super exhausted and I can't make it, sometimes I would push myself. But these days I'm more of like, thinking about how I feel. Is it good for me in the long term? And, basically taking more breaks. And also, I feel like in 2018, 2019, I used to work without days off. I never took any days off, and it was exhausting. So now I'm on the weekends, I'm trying to do like a minimal. Sometimes I don't even post on the weekends, just stories, not actual post, because honestly, your brain needs a little recharge, and you need to think and get inspired by other things outside of Instagram and social media. Go to a museum, meet with your friends, just walk down the street and listen to some music, or just listen to what people are talking next to you. It's all like essential for your creativity. And I realized that if I'm just like, going and going and going, first, the quality of my content goes down. Second of all, it's just physically impossible. So that recharge time really helped me. And during COVID, we all had such a big recharge.
That's true, yeah. And also, I will just mention that in the beginning, when you start something, you want to catch up all these opportunities. You kind of want to show up in many events you can show up. You take all these different jobs maybe. When you put your priorities first, when you know what is your priority a little bit later, so then you can pick up which events you go. You can schedule your time to have some rest, to schedule like some detox time, maybe once a year, just to go off online, just to go offline, right? And just don't post anything. I think it's very powerful tools which you have to use when you do like so many like online activities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the free time is crucial. And sometimes I do social media detox too. And it like really like rewires you and gives you so many new ideas. It's it's very powerful. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So like we will talk about like about your influencer full-time career, like which you have right now. But I know that before that, after your mask challenge and your side hustle blogging, you started your own project, your business in spa and grooming for dogs.
Yes.
Could you tell me a bit more about that adventure?
I'll
call it like that.
Sure. So in 2019, I like decided that there is a need in the Hamptons to open a dog boutique and spa, because at the time I had my dog, my little Yorkie Lulu. And every time we will come to East Hampton, we realize there is no places to buy, fancy supplies like a harness or like a dog bowl or snacks or anything in the Hamptons. There was a tiny little shop in Sag Harbor, and that's it. And
so there is a demand.
Yes, there was a big demand in there, and no one was offering it.
Okay.
And I decided, why not trying something new? I always loved dogs. I've been obsessed with my dog, Lilu. So in a couple of months, I, rented a space. I decorated it, came out with a concept, hired people, and basically started this new adventure. It's supposed to be my, not a side gig, but it's supposed to be my
part-time thing?
Part-time thing.
Project, yeah.
Yes, project. I was thinking I'll start it and I'll have people working for me. But as it turned out, it took all of my free time.
It's actually when everyone starts a business, maybe it will be part-time, but never.
Yes.
It will take, in the beginning especially, lots of time.
It was like a lot of time, and I spent so much time physically in there, and it was like a fabulous experience. And working with the dogs, taking dogs photos, it's so cute.
Oh my gosh,
I love that.
Yeah, for everyone who loves dogs, it just will be a dream job. Like
yes.
to have that. Like, but did you go for any struggles? Did you experience any unexpected challenges maybe during this period of time when you've been building this business?
The challenges, if you're a business owner, the challenges come every single day, and like from places you would never expect them to come, from like technical difficulties of like how to set up, appointment booking system, how to make sure, that your clients provide you the exact directions you want for a groomer, how to groom your dog, how you receive feedback from clients, how do you, arrange products on the shelf.
Which services you provide, maybe something
yes.
extra you can do.
Yes.
Did you have a team? I'm sorry,
yeah.
I just interrupted you.
No worries. I had a team, but like also managing people, it's a challenge. If you own a business, everything is a challenge.
Yeah, how did you handle those struggles? Like, which lessons maybe did you bring out of that experience?
Well, I guess my lesson would be that everything you can figure out. You just need to sort of like direct your attention towards this issue. Google everything. It's so much easier for us those days. Like, ask people around, maybe try to find friends who experience anything like that, but let's say in another industry. Ask for advice and just never give up, because like at the end of the day, you can figure out everything. As soon as you concentrate on it and like spend some time on this issue, you can make it happen. Hey, if I had no experience in dog grooming or dog like industry, and I was able to open this business and actually make it successful, everyone could do anything. You just need to allow yourself to, take that risk and be very dedicated and, just do it.
Yeah. But still, you decided to close this business. what was the reason? Why did you decide to pursue your influencer career as a full-time? How that transition happened?
Well, I was very busy with my dog spa during the COVID because a lot of people moved to the Hamptons during the pandemic.
It was huge.
It was huge. And everyone had a dog, or a lot of people adopted a dog during that time. And it was like a lot of clients during that time. But then people started moving back to the city. And I also moved back to the city. And it was very challenging to have that kind of personal business where every dog owner who comes to a store, they want to talk to you directly. They want to make sure that you take care of the dog. It's very difficult to run that business if you're not there. So,
and I guess clients in this area are very demanded clients. Like, I mean, they not simple clients. Like, they treat their dogs like kids. Maybe I will say even more,
even more.
So it's like very sensitive also field in the business to do services in such industry.
Absolutely, you're correct. And also, we had a lot of celebrity clients, so they need not only special, it's like extra special attention. So, and also I realized that I missed the creativity aspect of it. I did take some dog photos, but it was not my full time. And the more I was in that business, the more I realized that I missed just, creating content, doing my makeup, dressing up. Because another disadvantage of owning a dog-related business is that you're constantly covered in dog hair. You can't really wear anything fashionable. You know what I mean? Then you can't really wear makeup because in the grooming industry, the hair dryers will settle all of the dog hair all over your face. So even if you're wearing mascara, the dog hair sticks to it. So it was like not working out for my obsession with beauty and fashion
at the same time. So. But you still so kept that wish and desire to pursue your influencer career.
Yes, and I miss it a little, especially during COVID, when people started again going back and seeing each other and going to restaurants and like socializing. I realized I really miss it because, I love dogs. And until this day, I'm such a dog lover. But I also realized I missed creating content and being in the beauty and fashion industry so much.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, and you decided to build your career as an influencer.
Yep.
So how would you define your blogging style? What will be your maybe niche in this space? How did you find your voice in what you do right now?
I'm concentrating mostly on fashion and beauty. And back in the day when I started, it was not my niche at all, because it was a brand new industry. No one knew what's going on.
Wild West.
Wild West. And even until this day,
it's
still sometimes,
It's regulations.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. But back in the day, I've been, there was also another trend for beauty and fashion influencers. Everyone used to be a lifestyle influencer.
Yeah.
So you will share everything. Like, here I'm going on vacation. There I'm going, grocery shopping. And I don't think it's a trend right now. People are sort of used to that content. I feel like people are looking for specific things. In fact, if you concentrate and niche out your brand more, meaning if you only do in fashion, you will succeed faster if compared to when you have a 2 or 3 different niches. I try to concentrate just on beauty, but I realized that my audience still loves my fashion looks, and I also love it so much. Personally, I couldn't distinguish it from myself. So what I decided to do instead, I was thinking, why not combining these 2 industries together? So what I noticed, especially during fashion weeks, is that a lot of fashion girls, they will be all about the outfits, but they will put a super minimal makeup look, if any, and they will do a simple, bun, and that's it. And for me, I took like a maximalist approach in a way, because I'm not only doing my fashion looks, but I also combine it with my knowledge in the beauty industry. So I guess that's my niche, and that's what makes it special.
Yes, like it's your advantage. So actually, I know that you've been writing some articles for magazines, so you've been publishing some comments in magazines as a beauty expert.
Yes.
And that was the way you set up your online presence. But you just mentioned about the New York Fashion Week, which is the new thing for you, and how you relate to that aspect. How does it help you to establish your online brand, or it's like an extra thing?
This Fashion Week, I decided to go on Fashion Week and make it right. But previously, I was actually avoiding Fashion Week, because back in the day, I thought that, it felt uncomfortable for me to go and try to present yourself, even for street style, for people that you don't really know. It felt uncomfortable, and in a way, it was sort of like a fear of mine to be surrounded by so many people that you don't know. But this year, I changed my strategy, and it's actually benefited me big time. Because I realized that I've been, a style and a beauty expert for years, and journalists from, all of the American publications reach out to me, and they're asking for my advice on trends or on, specific items, let's say, that you can style for this season, or specific makeup or beauty technique. But they rarely publish my photos as a beauty or like style expert. However, a fashion week allows you to truly demonstrate your personal style. And then when photographers recognize and acknowledge and photograph your style, all of the beauty editors could actually pick these photos that these street style photographers took and publish you at the magazines, online publications. So this year, I've been like everywhere.
I saw your Instagram.
Yes.
It was impressive. You've been very active, like every day, new look, new outfit.
Yeah.
So share how did you get there? Like, how did you get to New York Fashion Week?
I was just invited to shows, and instead of just wearing, just an outfit, I, took a creative approach towards it, and I wore more like colorful looks, and I experiment with my hair a lot. Mostly, honestly, most of my hair experiments happened because you don't have a lot of time, because you're invited to so many shows. So what I did this year, I used those like huge hair clips, and I put them randomly on my head, on my hair, to sort of like camouflage a bad hair day or my dirty hair. And a lot of photographers felt that it's a new trend. And I mean, it was very comfortable and it's cool. And actually, every woman can use it,
We'll show you the picture of this famous hairstyle, yeah.
So yes, and many photographers, even like Vogue, Elle, like any L'Officiel, any magazine you can find from all over the world, they caught on this hair technique and they reposted it. So now it made it in the magazine, and it officially became a trend. So coming back to your question about how it was beneficial for me, I feel like nowadays in our society, we're so image and focused. No one truly reads. I'm sorry. There's a very specific group of people who still reads, newspapers, magazines, books, but it's more of you recognize the person by the image. So I felt the New York Fashion Week was so helpful for me from the perspective that my face is all over the magazines, and that's how you gain new followers. That's how you've been recognized by fashion and beauty editors. That's how you get recognized by street style and other photographers. So honestly, I sort of regret not going for Fashion Week for all other years. Yeah.
I mean, actually, the Fashion Week during the pandemic was empty. I mean, it was some shows still going on, but I felt was such a hunger for new street style fashionistas.
Yeah.
would show up on the street, as it happens always. But yeah, now it's coming back, and I see it's amazing. It's great that lots of people right now participating.
Yeah,
And doing this.
it's fabulous, honestly. And just, another advantage of going, even if you like working in this industry or you're just interested in fashion and beauty, if you can go to some of these places, for instance, Spring Studios, just go there and see how people are dressing up. It's such a, it's a free styling advice pretty much from people. Take some photos, ask people if it's okay to take their photos, outfit photos, and you can recreate some of these looks, and it's so inspiring to be around people who are like really putting their best foot forward when it comes to fashion and beauty. I love that experience. In fact, Daria, I loved it so much that I'm going to Paris Fashion Week now.
Yeah, this is amazing. It will be like 27th. So
yep.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going on there.
I know. I'm getting my looks ready, girl.
You work on that. Nice.
Yes.
So actually, how do you get those? How do you establish partnerships with the brands with whom you collaborate, like between fashion weeks right now and on fashion weeks? What's your strategy building a relationship? Because you've been working with Dior, Sephora, with so many amazing brands. How that happened?
Well, it happened mostly because I'm one of those people who will always share what they love. If I'm buying something and I'm loving it, I'll tell it all over my social media all the time. And I feel like brands recognize that. They see you as a true lover of this product or this brand. And eventually they start noticing you, and maybe they communicate with their PR companies. Maybe they put you on the list of like dedicated shoppers. And basically a lot of collaborations that I had, brands directly reached out to me because they happen to love my either personal style or techniques that I'm using to create my beauty looks. And that's number one strategy for building relationships with the brands. The second strategy is to, build relationships with PR companies. There's so many PR companies here in New York, and you can truly build relationships with these people. Meaning, by building relationships, I mean, if they invite you to an event, always show up on time, show your love, really really produce great stories. If you love the product, produce great content, and just, overall be a nice human being. And I feel like people feel it and they want to work with you again and again. And if you be nice to everyone and there is an opportunity coming up, they will think about, oh, that nice girl Katya, let's invite her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great. I'm 100% sure. Like, you actually inspire everyone. I think, like, just to think about that approach, like to show up on events, to take an advantage of those New York Fashion Week opportunities which exist in today where we live in, and to work with brands you love. Yeah. And this is very powerful advice. So just post what you use every day. Just share this, and then this is how you will establish relationships with the brand. Because I know actually some influencers, they post only what they got sponsorship, brand deals for. How do you deal with that? Do you have like the cases when you don't accept that some sponsored paid collaborations?
Absolutely. I reject a lot of, opportunities because I only post what I truly believe in and what I love. And I also feel like I know a lot of people in my industry who will only post about things that I got for free as a, PR sample or like a gift from a brand. But I don't feel it's honest towards your audience, because if you're only picking from a pool of free products available for you, it's not actually like you making a consumer choice of what to choose. You should go to that store if you can afford it, of course, and like pick what you actually love and like share it, And if it happens to be a brand that also sends you stuff, it's fine. But at least you're like picking from the list of all of the products are available to all other people versus only the stuff you receive for free. So when it comes to PR gifts and gifts from the brands, I'm very picky too. Similarly, how I am picky about sharing stuff that I purchase myself. If I purchase a new foundation and it doesn't work, I'll tell my followers, my audience, that I bought this that doesn't work. And I feel like this honesty, it will build your audience, and it's understandable by the brand too. For instance, when I did 365 masks challenge, it's not like every single mask worked for me. Some of them I had allergic reactions to. Some of them I felt like they dried out my skin. Some of them I was like, I don't like that smell of that particular product. It's like bothering me. People understand on both sides. PR companies, brands, your audience, everyone understands that not every product will work for you. And you as an influencer must be honest about it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is also the tricky question. For example, you have brand deal partnership.
Yep.
And they send you the product and you have the sponsored content planned. But
Yep.
if it's not working well, like this is also, you need to share it in very authentic way, to be honest, and at the same time to keep good relations with the brand. So that's also some, I think, skill which you need to develop being an influencer. So to promote the feedback which is authentic to your followers and to the brand about the product, and to keep those relations. Maybe that was not the best one, but next product will be better. And I think actually for brands, it's a great way to collect the feedback.
Yeah, that's true. But honestly, like how collaborations work is that usually bloggers, request the product before you're going to be advertising it. In this way, it's the most authentic sort of like way to share your product, because nowadays brands also know that, you can't like lie on the camera. People feel it. No one is stupid, People know that you didn't test this product, or you're not 100% sure it's perfect for you. So in my particular case, I always request the product before I'm agreeing on advertising anything, because I can't lie to my audience. What if I try it and I have an allergic reaction?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
then someone else try it, and then they have the same issue. That's not gonna be honest, and it's not gonna be nice. And I would never listen to advice from a blogger like this again.
And also I feel it's important to tag if it's sponsored, if it's gifted, and just to mention that aspect in the post you're making. I know
absolutely.
Actually,
it's mandatory by the law.
Yeah, definitely. So it's great. So which advice would you, not maybe advice, what you wish brands knew before they apply to influencers like you, are how they should build their strategy, what they should pay attention to?
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's important for the brand. It's either, start from gifting probably, offer bloggers that you think could be a potentially great match for their brand, gifting opportunities, so bloggers could actually see what really works for them, if that's the brand they want to really work with. And also after that, you could discuss potential sponsored opportunities. Because if you're not familiar with the brand, if you're an honest person, you should not be accepting that sponsored deal.
Yeah.
So maybe
that's
that
great
advice.
Yeah, so just start with the gifting and see how your relations will start from that point.
Yep.
And then build more long-term partnerships, contracts. I mean, with styling is easier, obviously, because you can see their outfit online, and you can understand by the description what's the textures, how it was produced. Did you make any strict no's to brands? Which were those brands or stories?
Strict no's. I feel like I'm not really working with brands that are doing fast fashion. because it's a very toxic industry and abusive in a way. And also, what are the other? And I also never worked with the brands who are, I never promoted a retinol product because it doesn't work for my skin. My skin is like very sensitive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could start a retinol product use because I know it does like so many great things, yes, to your skin, but like unfortunately, it's like my skin is very sensitive to it.
Yeah, it's good to know. So,
yes.
Yeah. So actually, talking about the blogging career, it's also about the creating the content.
Yes.
And you're creating the content like constantly. How do you manage your day for that? How do you manage to create the content so a week in advance, so maybe a month in advance, so you have something to post? You should have maybe the perfect grid to plan everything in advance. Share a little bit more. How do you manage that aspect of your career?
Well, planning is a crucial part of being an influencer. And I feel like the best way to go about it and how I'm trying to go about it is to dedicate specific days when you creating content and when you're doing all of the other things. So for instance, on Mondays, I always do like admin work. I'll respond to the emails, whichever emails need to go for the week, or like I prep my emails to send them later. On Tuesdays, I like to have a photo shoot. And on Fridays, I like to have a photo shoot because typically Wednesdays and Thursdays are very big when it comes to blogger events. And I'm trying to, schedule my meetings in between. So this way you're like more organized because, it's very difficult when it comes to content creation days to just sort of like plan it together with other life activities. Because sometimes you just, it takes longer than expected to produce that content. And you don't want to feel rushed when it comes to creating content.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you have to plan outfits, you have to plan the style, like the topic of the month, maybe, or some other like niche events which are going on, and you have to schedule that in advance. How your like maybe daily routine looks like when you have, let's say, creating the content? Do you work with a team? Do you manage this?
Well, I have a photographer that I'm working on a regular with. And during Fashion Week, when people are taking your photos for street style, they typically send it to you, or you're like, I'm asking my photographer to come and take my photos. So actually during Fashion Week, you create a lot of content that you can schedule ahead of time. But for the days when I'm shooting with my photographer, we're trying to do a content, if not for a week, then at least for a couple of days. I do my own makeup and hair. Sometimes I will be like coming back home, or if we're shooting in the studio, back in the studio, I'll be like changing my beauty looks so they match with my outfit. And basically, you meet around like 11, and until it's sunset time, you just shooting and shooting, trying different angles, going to different locations. And that's why I'm saying that, content creation days, they're difficult to kind of plan and schedule with other things. First of all, it's exhausting to create like especially video content and also change your makeup all the time. Outfits. Bring huge bags with you to shoot all of these outfits.
It's unfancy part of creating the content. I can relate to.
Yes, you're also a content creator yourself.
I mean, yeah. So I had a previous background mostly focused on fashion and beauty, but right now I took like some break out of that, and I'm more focused my efforts on creating content in a different niche. So, but yeah, I can relate, and I see that's an amazing opportunity also to show up online, and whatever you do, people want to see you. They want to see inspired looks. They want to see maybe what you do during the day. So it's great. How you do separate, or you don't separate your personal and business values and life. So I know, for example, some bloggers and influencers, they share like 24/7 their life. They show up there, like what they eat, where they go, relationships, like, and between that, they also promote their expertise. And this is one of the ways to build relations with your audience, because people feel related to maybe daily things you're doing and your problems, your struggles, challenges. How do you work on that aspect? Do you separate it? Do you combine that? And what do you feel about that?
Well, I personally, for myself, because I picked more of the expert approach, I separate my personal life, some aspects of my personal life, from my professional life. For instance, I never talk on social media about my relationships. I feel like those are things, that should stay like separate. Also, I am being very careful when it comes to security issues. Mm-hmm. For instance, if I'm going to events, I rarely post straight from the event or straight from the restaurant where I am going to, for privacy reasons, because we don't know who are the followers who are following us. Because as a public person, you have to be careful. So typically I'll go to the event, and then in the Uber home or in the Uber to another event, I will be posting that content, or I'll be posting when I'm back home. So I know that you're absolutely correct, that the more personal information you share, the more people can relate to you. But I feel like that's, for me personally, I need some boundaries when it comes to, sharing specifically like my relationships. I never share my parents. I never share like my personal relationships, my family. Like the most I can do is to share, something about me, my dog, or anything like that. And so far it's been working out great for me. I don't know, I feel like I have this fear in a way of, oversharing, because like I know a lot of people, when they're going out with friends who are not necessarily bloggers, they will feature them in the videos, but I'm always, being very polite about it, and I never share like my non-blogger friends if they're not like specifically gave me a permission and they want me to share it, because I feel like everyone has the right to their privacy, and I respect that. And similarly, I really appreciate when people ask me if it's okay to, not to take a photo on the side somehow, but to actually come take selfie together and being, open and nice about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great feedback. Is there anything, like you just mentioned about the security issue, and I understand that actually we're living in such a time when we share everything online, and I agree with you about sharing the stories maybe a little bit later than it happened. Yeah. For your security issue, it's a great advice. That's really, yeah. And some people, they do share like their personal stuff. They do not share. It's works good for them. It's good works good for you. If you don't do that, it's just like, it's never like the right answer what you should do, right? It's exactly. Like for different people works different things. Yeah. And is there anything you would love to know, you wished you knew before you started to do influencer career? Like, what are those maybe advices to girls who want to start doing influence marketing and to become influencers who are?
Well, let's start from a notion that when I started, this industry simply did not exist. Nowadays, whoever is starting in social media, you have access to all of these free resources, YouTube videos, articles, the whole like conferences about what you can do and how to succeed in this industry. If you like do enough research, you can figure out every aspect of this, industry. Back in the day, there was nothing. So my number one advice would be is that, put your research towards what you want to do, but don't let that research stop you. Because I know a lot of people who will be like researching and thinking about it without actually taking the step towards the direction of their career. You can start blogging or any social media work as a side hustle, and you can figure out everything along the way. So I guess my second advice would be to give yourself a permission to succeed in this industry. Believe in yourself and understand that if you're making all of the steps towards that particular goal that you have, eventually it will happen. So don't be afraid and just go for it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Is there any sources of information, like inspiration sources, which you find useful today? How you find this inspiration online? It's like a lot of visual stuff right now online. What's your favorite one?
First of all, it's always helpful just to Google what particular question you have. But then a lot of industry websites are helpful too. For instance, I'm using this tool called Planoly for pre-scheduling my content to go live on Instagram. They have an amazing blog that shares a lot of the newest Instagram updates, and you can like find a lot of information about what you want to do in that industry. Then YouTube. It's the best search engine when it comes to researching information about social media world. The moment, a new update drops, all over YouTube, you can find information. On TikTok, you can find it too. But what I would say, be very careful about where and which information you decide to act on. Because there are so many opinions about everything, and it's good to do your research and see both sides of the issue, but you have to be like smart by yourself in a way that you should pick your own battles and make your own decisions instead of just doing what everyone is doing. So in a way, you need to follow your intuition when it comes to creating content on social media. If you are, about to post something and you feel in your gut something is off, don't post it. Maybe, ask someone else's opinion, talk to your friends, or give it a little time to figure out what's, if it's okay to post or not. And every decision, just follow your gut. Oftentimes, it will show you what to do. So trust yourself, I think it's a better way to frame it. Trust yourself and don't be, too much outside of your comfort zone to start with, and then you can explore all of the other possibilities.
Yeah, actually, right now, when you go social media, and you research some influencers, some of them, they dedicating their content to social justice problems or some topics which right now everyone is talking about, some political issues. How do you feel about that? Do you integrate that? You've been talking about check information, trust, be smart about what you're posting. Did you talk about that aspect? So something like social, political?
Well, it could relate to any aspect. I guess my point comes from a journalism background when you fact check everything. Mm-hmm. So even until this day, if someone is asking me
especially today.
Yes, especially today.
Yeah.
If, let's say, I'm giving an expert advice about something, I'll write it down how I'm thinking. It's how I believe it is. And then I'll fact check every single sentence of my response just to make sure that whatever I'm advising people, it's up to date, it's proved by some research. And I guess no matter which industry you're at, you could use this approach. Just when you write something down, just double check with reliable sources, and you can Google what reliable sources are.
That's true.
You can double check it and, make sure that you don't misinform people, no matter what you're talking about. If it's a quality of your mascara or it's the length of your skirt, just do your research.
Yeah, amazing. You actually mentioned about Planoly. This is one of the inspiration sources and where you plan your content. What other tools do you use to edit, to shape your content, which every influencer should have, or someone who wants to improve their content creation skills? What will be that?
I personally love Tazza app. It's created by Tazza Barton, who's the OG influencer. And it's a great tool because it allows you to plan how your content is going to look like. And also it has all sorts of filters. So if you're not like an advanced, editor when it comes to Photoshop or Lightroom, when it comes to Instagram filters or adjusting the lighting of your photos or anything like that, it's an easy to use app. You basically upload your photo or video and you adjust the filter. If you want to create, filtered theme for your feed. And what's also very cool about this app is that because you're doing everything in the same app, you can just copy, paste, and setting on both your videos and your photos. Because now, there's a big accent towards reels.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure your reels and your photos look similar.
Align with your major style.
Exactly. So you can do it in Tazza. It's such an easy way to edit. What else I can recommend? Oh, I also have a very cool app no one truly knows about. It's called GoDaddy Studios, and I believe I showed you how to use it.
I just did research yesterday. Yeah,
it's a good one, right?
Yeah, GoDaddy Studios. I didn't get it. Do they have photos, so they can apply actually very stylish and beautiful aesthetic fonts.
Yes.
On the top of your picture. Do they do that with video? I did not get it.
Yes,
they do it.
Basically it allows you to create a transparent background photo, transparent background image, like a vector. Back in the day, remember what vector was? It's PNG sort of video.
Yeah.
So you put a beautiful font, you write whatever you want to write, and then it saves it as a photo with a transparent background. So basically, if you want to post that caption or that text all over your video, then you just upload your video to your stories
and
then edit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I wanted I'm testing right now integrating different types of content to She Did That Instagram.
Yes.
And I want to put some inspirational quote on top of the real video. So and that's probably what I was looking. I'm using InShot, but they don't have beautiful fonts.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good tool for me.
Yes, and InShot I also use. It's perfect for editing videos, but when it comes to fonts, I agree. You need to use something else.
Very low choice of fonts.
Yeah.
So that's something. Would you recommend any other editing tools or planning tools to use? Or will be the top?
That's pretty much what I'm using. Honestly, I have so many different apps, but realistically, what I'm using is Tazza. If I need to sort of make sure that my feed looks more or less cohesive. Also, I use InShot when it comes to videos, Planoly for planning my feed, and actually in Planoly you can add captions and hashtags right there in the app, and it could auto post it for you. I mean, it's a paid service, but it's helpful, especially let's say if you're working somewhere full-time and you do an Instagram as your side hustle, you could save so much time and money just to not money but time.
Money.
Yes.
Same.
Yes, because you're going to be earning money somewhere else while this app is posting for you. So
that's amazing scheduling opportunity. It's crucial sometimes.
Yes, it is.
You need to pick up the right time to post your content. Yeah, and you do every day. You post every day.
Yes,
and you have a beautiful grid. It's also the question when I listen to Gary Vee, he's don't pay attention to the grid. You just lose your time. Share your authentic moment right now with your followers. But I know if you're focused on fashion and beauty, it's crucial to have aesthetic, beautiful grid. Grid is when 9 pictures all match with one style. So
I feel that it truly depends on what type of niche you picked for yourself. because Gary Vee is doing like motivation, for entrepreneurs from all over the world. And that's his brand, to be, real, right here
now,
in the
quick
moment.
Action. He's like translating these values in his Instagram and how he posts, his style of posting.
I agree. But like, let's say if you're like in the fashion world, the rules in a way are a little different. There is also in fashion industry, there are different types of content. Some people share like advice videos, and the editing would be different for them versus to people who are doing like street style photos. Because if it's an advice video, you want to put like information, like captions, stuff like that. But if you want to just share your daily outfits as inspiration, then I believe personally it should be a little more sort of like editorial kind of content.
Yeah, it's like editorial content, right?
Yep.
So you're like an editor of your own little magazine, so which can be bigger. The audience of your little magazine is not really little.
Yes.
It's like 35,000 people almost, right?
Yep.
How did you grow up this following? Which tools, marketing strategy worked for you and which didn't work for you?
Well, my number one strategy is to start on Instagram when it just launched.
All right.
And it was so much easier to, back then to gain followers. And, there was an opportunity to get onto Explore page. It was like my post got on Explore page many times. It helped a lot. And then, honestly, the 365 masks challenge helped my Instagram so much, because imagine it was not only me doing these masks, it was like people from all over the world tagging me in the mask challenge.
And you created a hashtag, probably.
Yes. And then you want to see what this hashtag is about. Who's that girl who's doing that, challenge? And my Instagram grew a lot that year.
That's amazing, actually. Advice just to create some challenge and to commit yourself to that challenge. And people are curious, first of all, if you'll finish it or no. But at the same time, you inspire them if it's something positive. Let's say, it can be in a beauty world, like it's one thing, and some motivational, like something about your manifestation, wishes, how you design your life during the year. And do you achieve some goals? You do not achieve the goals, and it's also normal. So, and people just maybe cheering for you and doing something.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like people like to see the progress that you're making or not making. And it sort of like gives you a timeline, and you like following things like this.
Yeah, it's like showing up your life. How your story in New York City started. Let's jump a little bit more to your personal story. Why New York City? Why?
Well, first of all, New York City is a dream. And as I mentioned previously, it's a dream for everyone, isn't it?
For me, 100%.
Yes, for me too. And as I mentioned before, I had my journalism background when I came to New York. And my actually first job in America was at the Russian American newspaper that we started back in the day at my college in Moscow, at Moscow State University. So it was called Novaya Ruskaya Slovo. It was the biggest Russian American newspaper abroad. So I worked there, but I was writing in Russian. So actually, my blog is technically my first English speaking writing gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just love New York from, start on. So many cultures, so many different, cuisines to explore every single day. It just was a love from the first sight. And I fell in love with New York the moment I came here.
How many years?
It's gonna be 15 years soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
I can't believe it. Honestly,
time flies.
Time flies, and I still feel like I just came, and I love New York, if not less, but like much more, because I understand it more, I appreciate it more. So,
is there like any online or maybe offline communities supported you along the way of influencers, of creative entrepreneurs, of people who are speaking the same language maybe as you do?
Not really, but I was very lucky to find like a core group of people who are working in the same industry that I am, who are actually very supportive. Because, you know, the influencer industry could be competitive. And I feel like the more it goes towards, you know, the more time flies, the more like I see it's more competitive, it's growing, more people are in. Now TikTokers are in too, and I feel like it could be competitive. However, I was so lucky to find like so many girlfriends who like we support each other. We're like honestly sharing our opinions. You know, if I'm figuring out I'm not sure about my outfit or whatever, even on this like basic level, I have so many girlfriends to send my photos to and being like, do you think I'm crazy doing this? Wearing this or that? And then we'll be honest and we'll share like, you know, in a polite way, the honest opinion. And I don't know, I wish there were groups for influencers. Maybe there are, I just didn't research them. But I definitely have a handful of girlfriends in the industry who support each other.
Awesome.
Yes.
So you covered the question about competitive or collaborative.
Yes.
I will say. So you find your people anyhow. So it's maybe not a big group right now, but it can grow along the time.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, I'm meeting more people who are coming also from like, as I said, from TikTok or maybe the influencers in another niche. And I guess it's like with any friendship, it takes time to find your people and make sure that your values align and make sure like you love, you know, hanging out together. And yeah, I'm very grateful that I have my girlfriends and we're doing like some parties together or we're traveling together, and it's all so inspiring. Also, so inspiring to see those girls succeed. Maybe we're working a little bit in different niches, but like, you know, I like seeing them grow. And honestly, I feel like overall, people in this industry should be thinking about each other, not from a perspective of being competitors, but from a perspective of how you can help each other grow. Because like, honestly, it's not like one single person from your audience will only follow you. Well, people follow many different people for many different reasons. And there is room and space for everyone. So I don't understand this competitiveness of this, you know, industry. I feel like in a way, if you are like joining forces with, you know, people that you like, everyone could benefit from it.
100%, I agree. And you will find your own people who have the same values, and different people will find another person. So it's just nothing, nothing about that. Just as more you share, I think as more you collaborate, as more you hanging out with other people and exploring this world and growing this business, this industry.
Yep.
Which is new. Awesome. Is there any podcasts or books which helped you along that way, supported you?
Good question.
Something favorite, maybe some of your favorite book would you recommend?
I read a lot and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I feel like throughout the years, I listened to so many that helped me. I listened to Gary Vee from motivational standpoint. I also remember back in the day, especially when it comes to writing an actual blog versus just being on social media, I really love that podcast called Smart Passive Income by Pat Flynn. He's one of the veterans in this industry. He explains a lot in detail and from a very sort of like basic and one-on-one level, how to handle certain situations when it comes to social media or blogging, technical things, contracts, anything you could think about it. So it's I'm not sure if he's still doing his podcast, but back in the day, I've been like obsessively listening to his podcast. When it comes to books, it could be helpful to read books by influencers if you actually want to research that industry. For instance, Teza, that has a Teza app, she has a book, and she actually has such beautiful visuals in this book. It's a great table book. It's it's good to know, and like she shares a few of her tips and tricks, so it's very helpful. Also, Ami Song, who's been also one of the first bloggers. Her blog on Instagram is Song of Style. She has her book. It's also very helpful, especially for people who don't know how to pose, how to create content, how to go about styling things. And currently, I'm reading a book by JC Dupree. She has an Instagram account, Damsel in Dior, and she wrote a book about her journey in blogging, from how she grew up and she got her first, designer item, to how she travels to fashion weeks all over the world. So it's a great inspirational book, but it's also a very heartfelt book when it comes to, prioritizing your personal relationships and your career, and some tips and tricks. So these are the books that I'm currently reading or read before that could be helpful for people.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any future plans? So you're going to Fashion Week?
Yes, I'm going to Paris Fashion Week. I'm so excited. I'm packing so many outfits. I don't know how I'm going to handle all of those suitcases, but I'm so excited.
Big, yeah, lots of suitcases.
Yes, yes, because, it's one thing if you go in New York and you need something, you're like, oh, I have that belt from that dress that I'm maybe not wearing today, and you can combine things and you can quickly decide what's going on. But once you're in Paris, you need to pre-plan all of your outfits. By the way, coming back to the topic of planning, Canva is my number one tool.
Oh yeah, I do that too. Yeah.
And it's actually, I'm not sure if you're using it the same way, but I'm not only using it for my media kits or any press links that I have, any presentations, but I also create mood boards for my photo shoots. So I'll go
right in Canva.
Right in Canva. I like to go by A4 format, horizontally, 8.5 by 11 inches. And then I'll go to Pinterest and I'll do a lot of screenshots about things that I want to feature, or some posing that I like, or any inspiration. And I'll put it together with the looks that I'm planning on shooting and location photos. So it gives me an overall kind of idea how I want to this photo shoot to happen. So you feel more organized. But also coming back for Paris Fashion Week, I actually use these mood boards for creating my looks. So I have one PDF with my New York Fashion Week looks, and I will be putting together items that I'm planning on wearing. I also took photos of my shoes that I already have, and I put it all in there. And I give myself a few options on how you can style it. So this way, you know exactly what to pack, and you make sure when you see everything as a big picture, that you're not repeating the same looks over and over again. So it's very helpful. Canva, my number one tool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Canva should create it. I was just sponsored.
Yes, they should sponsor that show.
Another show, I'm just, yes, Canva. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. And my last question.
Okay.
What's your definition of success?
Oh my God, that's the only question I'm not prepared to answer. But I guess, I guess success for me is feeling confident in what you do. It's not necessarily about finances. It's not necessarily about getting recognition. It's about how you feel on the inside that you're doing a great job. Because if you're feeling that you're doing it exactly how you want it and how it's supposed to be done, it's so powerful. And it will be helping more people that you could actually think of. So just this inner, fire, that's success for me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining us today on She Did It Show. Is there contact information people could find you if they have?
Absolutely. Style Sprinter everywhere.
And thank you so much for joining us today on the She Did It Show. Remember, the path to success is not always easy, but with determination, hard work, and strong support system, you can achieve your dreams. So go out there, make it happen. And please subscribe to our channel, leave your feedback, and see you next time on She Did It Show. Woohoo!